Choosing an agent in 2020.
We're live.
G'day, Mr. Michael Bergio. Welcome. We are live. Choosing an agent in 2020. Very interesting stuff, Michael. It's really, really changed. And we wanted to talk with everyone about how you select a real estate agent in 2020. Very different to how you selected an agent in 2019, 2015, 2000. What are the changes you've seen, Michael? And how do you select an agent now?
Yeah, super excited about this one because I was just thinking, like, a lot of people, the average is they sell their home once every 7 years, but a lot of people don't sell it they buy it and then until they retire. And you see it quite often. This home hasn't been available for 30 years, 40 years. And the whole metrics and just from that consumer point of view of them picking an agent in 1990 to them picking an agent in 2020, let alone 2019, has changed dramatically. And we're just saying, like, if I was to nominate an agent out of area, what would be a couple things I would really look at on how I would create a short list of agents out there. And one of the things I was saying, I'd be looking at realestate.com because the last 6 to 12 months of sold properties, I would create a short list of what are the companies, and then I would create a list of who are the agents within that company as well. And also
That's a really good point. The company doesn't necessarily mean it's a fantastic agent. So a lot of people pick a national brand.
Yes.
That doesn't actually guarantee individually they're going to get a cracker agent.
100%. And let's face it, there are great agents within a company as well. So you really want to knuckle down on who is that agent within, and also the selling structure within the company as well, which is another one we can go through.
Yep.
But one of the biggest things, social media has made a big change, and I would be looking at realestate.com, and then I would be looking at those agents' profiles on social media, because unlike ever, we now have bias with our platforms. And what I mean by that is, before and currently with Domain and realestate.com, you would pay a fee, you get on the ad, you can't really affect if the property is shown more or shown less or is viewed by more people than before. If you look at a newspaper, Mark, you would pay the ad, it's in the position, and it was pretty even. Like, you couldn't really affect it. But now,
that's a really good point as well. So when agents now aren't also, it's like picking a tradesperson. You're also, the tools that tradesperson has are different in 2020. So the tools in 2016 or 17 or 18, real estate agents had realestate.com, domain.com.au, and the newspaper. That's pretty much the biggest tools they had, and their database, obviously. But now that's fundamentally changed with social, and how that's changed with social is that tool can be a machine gun, an absolute animal of a tool if they're utilizing social media properly, and it's a free hit for a seller or a renter, a landlord or a vendor.
Yeah, an agent can have a water pistol or they can have the AK-47. And what we mean by that, and how an owner can look at, because every agent's going to say they have Facebook, and they probably will have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
But how it is used is totally different. You could look at, and what we mean by that is, if someone who never posts on their Facebook creating content or properties, they post, not active on it, when they post, it's going to get a lot less traction to an agent who does a lot of content, has a lot of followings on it, is going to get viewed by a lot more people. So the power.
Active and really interactive.
Correct.
Having that interaction with people is super important, eh?
Yeah, and that's now the sort of this X factor when choosing a real estate agent, which wasn't around 2 years ago, wasn't around 5, and definitely wasn't around 10 years ago. So,
and I think, ladies and gentlemen, something to watch out for is this is quite explosive, what you're talking about, Michael, what we're chatting about, because if an agent has the ability, if they've got an incredible following, it's almost like a television channel. If there's a lot of people watching that agent's television channel, that agent can literally put up a property, get an absolute premium price within hours. That we're talking not staging furniture, we're talking not spending 15 grand, we're talking not doing an auction. we're talking a better result potentially than an auction within hours of that agent going on social media. Not saying that's the only way to do it, but
No.
when you're interviewing a real estate agent, you want a double barrel shotgun. You want the social to be pumping. You want realestate.com to be pumping, double barrel shotgun.
Yeah, and it's just one. Where was I going with that? I was just trying to. It's now like when you look at it before. I've lost my thought. Go back. Where was it?
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting, and what we are talking about today, guys, is real estate agents, selecting a real estate agent in 2020, how that's different to selecting an agent in any other year. It's fundamentally changed. For example, you and I spoke about off air was being in Blacktown. If we owned a home in Blacktown, what would be that agent selection for choosing an agent in Blacktown? The first thing I would do is see who's doing the deals. You know, when they say when you want to get a job done, give it to a busy person. You often would think, no, I want to give it to an agent who's not busy because they're hungrier. But generally, the agent that's busy is doing the right thing. They've got excellent processes, excellent marketing campaigns, excellent results, and happy clients, and that's what's forging them forward in the marketplace. That's what's putting them on a pedestal. So I think you're right in what you said before. That a level of activity that's quite exciting doesn't mean you're going to be left alone. It actually means you're going to be loved more.
Yeah, and when you look at, there's still the basics of in real estate, the signboards, the great photos, the text, the floor plans, but now we're even breaching into live walkthroughs that are used on social media, a lot more video content, interactive floor plans. So there's been a lot of added benefits as well that you want your agent to be doing, which is sort of a big evolution over the last 12 months and 5 years of picking a real estate agent. But I'm just more, we're obviously very passionate about social, but it's really good now to know that what you put in, you can definitely get out, where before it was paying $2,000 or whatever the fee was to go on realestate.com, and you're sort of hoping for the best. And an agent couldn't really convey that to their owner going, I will get you more views, I get you more interaction, because we are paid to negotiate, but we're also paid to expose, and we're a media company for your property. We are the promoter. So we need to get people to the property for one, and then we negotiate. So there's sort of two parts to a real estate agent, isn't it, Mark? The media tools we have and the negotiation skills we have. And first of all, you pick your agent on the media, and then on the prices, sort of.
The skill. You know, I think that, and again, it goes back to like a tradesperson with a tradie. If they've got excellent tools, wonderful. If they've got excellent skills, you're home and hosed, you're done. Lisa Novak says, what agent are you choosing? What's the agent you're choosing doing over and above the rest? That's a huge one. Stephanie Leva, our reception hostess with the mostest. G'day. Lisa also says, we now have a clear gauge that social media works, and the vendors and buyers definitely benefit from it. You know what's interesting about that? Owners had a really hard time with, I'm going to give you the money so you don't have to do any work. So they used to, okay, if I give you $15,000, like, why don't I just put it in the paper for $15,000? It was it was a very hard milestone or hurdle for people to get over, which is quite exciting now, because real estate, old-fashioned real estate used to be, you would pay an agent 2%, and you'd say, well, what am I paying you any more for if I'm paying you 2%? That was a really hard thing that people had to come sort of get their mind over.
Yeah, I was just thinking, okay, before, you're exactly right. When all the platforms were equal, why would you have an agent? It was basically because you had confidence they could negotiate a better price for you. Now there's a clear reason why you would choose an agent, and that's basically based off their social media. Because if you are an owner, you cannot put your property on an agent's social media, which is like putting it on their channel, which could have thousands of people watching. You are missing that whole people of marketing to as well. So now there's even a clear reason why to choose an agent and why not to as well. When you look at what Lisa Novak's doing, compared to an agent, and that's been recognized from some of the biggest people in the real estate industry, and she's spoken on some of the largest stages.
Yeah, a lot of the biggest
So-
thought leaders in the country are acknowledging her for what she's doing. And
So it's not like voodoo science or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
been recognized and proven, and owners cannot get that themselves. So that is a clear reason why you would appoint an agent based on that.
You know what a really good word I heard the other day was that Lee Woodward used? He used the word traditional marketing. He then extended to use the word digital marketing. I love the word instant media. So
Yep.
traditional marketing, an agent must do well to get you a good price, and all agents have almost perfected the art. Instant marketing, there are not many agents that have perfected the art, and it's instant results. So I think when you're selecting an agent in 2020, and we use an example again of Blacktown, and you're getting your agent through, see if you can get that free hit of instant marketing, which is your social media, which is your electronic, which is your database of email outs, your SMSs and stuff like that, plus your traditional marketing, plus a highly skilled agent with excellent processes. That's going to seal the deal for you to get the highest possible price in the market. If you mess that up, it could cost you 50 grand.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think like what was it? It was almost like a good negotiator will always sort of get you from 1 to 10% more just by negotiating with buyers and having that experience. And now it's also with bringing more people to the property as well. And the time, like when you look at, say, 10 years ago, the time it took to get a property to any platform would have been weeks from photos, text, and print.
Very good point.
Print was once a week. So realistically, it was once a week. And if you didn't have your photos back or all the material, it could have been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now it takes 2 seconds to get that property onto a platform with thousands. Only if the agent is active, remember. So that platform's only as good as the agent or the agency.
And allow me to explain what this means, guys. And we actually got terminology around it only yesterday in our office. This is how cutting edge this is. Days on market used to be is a metric that we use from when the property hits the market to when the property sells. So days on market. And it's interesting talking about the olden days, because days on market probably used to be 3 to 6 months, and then it got reduced around to about 11 to 28 days. And auction periods for 28 days, days on markets 28 days. A really interesting thing that we spoke about in the team was a trigger date. Yesterday, a trigger date. And what a trigger date is it's the date that when the owner's actually ready to start accepting people through the market, and when the agent's ready to trigger all marketing. Our trigger date now is now literally hours and sometimes a day. That's how quick it is to get on the market, to then start your days on market clock. So and we there's also other terminology called pre-portal before it goes onto the major portals, but that's changing quickly because now we're regarding Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn. I call that Phil, Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. We are regarding Phil as an additional portal to realestate.com, Phil as an additional portal to domain.com.au. So we almost can't use the word pre-portal anymore because Phil's that instant media is now doing it. But how the times change, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you are selecting an agent in 2020, how times have changed every single month since COVID alone, how businesses have changed. It's rapid fire. And part of what we're doing today is educating you because it's such a changing world for selecting an agent.
Yeah, and I think a lot of agents are going to be happy because of COVID, the end result, not the medical and all that stuff. As in, it's given them a real big kick up the bum to get onto social because they didn't have the effectiveness of a lot of the portals or the ability to be face-to-face with people. I think due to COVID, it's probably sped up people probably about a year. It saved them a year on the importance of social media, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon you're spot on. It was a backup plan.
Yeah.
It was a backup plan. With COVID hitting, agents that did not use instant media did not have a backup plan. They had to get stuff up super fast. They had to do virtual appraisals. They had to do virtual walkthroughs, and they had no ability to do it because they had not harnessed instant media. Let's go over to some of our questions. Lisa Novak says, social media is harder work for the agent. Big point.
Yeah.
Big point. Michael, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, and this goes in. You get what you put. You get what you put in, and that's the difference of an agent and their social media being a water gun to an AK-47. It's a lot of hours. I know Lisa puts in 4 to 6 hours a day, posting, going through comments, going through tags people put in, creating the content for. We'll put it this way. You would, in your CRM system, you would create one ad and that would go to realestate.com domain and a couple of the other little ones.
Yes.
These days on each of those platforms, you're tailor making the content to suit. Instagram has a total different expectation on how a property should look to LinkedIn, to Facebook. This is time consuming. This is an extra 1 to 4 hours a day an agent's putting in to when they were probably already didn't have a time in the day. So it is, and that's why you can tell the difference between a gun agent on social media and not a gun agent, because it's not easy.
Paul Twyla says instant, good wording, loves it. He also has a question about, do you still do print out your way? Bloody love it.
We do.
Say.
Yeah. Letterbox drops, yes. And also direct mail, yes. Newspaper, no.
Direct mail is you are writing a letter and posting it to someone with a Australia Post stamp.
Yes.
Letterbox drop, we are printing and hitting a street or a suburb with 1,000, 3,000 or 10,000 drops, not in an envelope, not with a postage stamp.
Yeah.
You love those.
100%. People got to remember, when you add something in marketing, you don't take something away. You're adding it to your arsenal. I think agents and people too often think, I'm now going to do letterbox drop, which means I don't now do a signboard. I'm now going to do a 3D floor plan, so I won't do a 2D floor plan. I'm doing a video, so I won't do good photos. No, you're adding. You're constantly adding. If you looked at the tools you had 20 years ago, Mark, you haven't got rid of the basic tools. You've now got 30 tools instead of 3. People and agents do it with self-promotion. I'm now going to do this, so I stop this. No, you keep adding and adding and adding. You may do less of one because you've picked up on another, but you don't stop doing one because it's like a full circle pie chart. You're just adding and adding. You don't just go, I'm only going to do one marketing method. You're doing more and more.
Okay, so that's print, but let's talk about print as in local rag, as in Manly Daily for Paul.
Never heard of it.
That's aggressive, dude. So Paul, what we do is our local newspaper we absolutely adore. I think it was one of the oldest publications in Australia that was running daily. That particular publication is called our Manly Daily. We were a massive supporter. It was a lift out, and we permanently had the back of the Manly Daily. So nobody wanted the back of the paper because it was the bum. We thought it was genius because people had the bum when it was sitting on a coffee table. It was either sitting up on the front page or on the bum. We regarded it as a premium position in the paper. They discounted it because nobody wanted it. So we took it permanently, the back page, and put 17 properties on there. It was a game changer. We have not been in the paper for 1 to 1.5 years. Not at all. Zero, zip, nada.
Yeah. And to give you an idea, I think the last count in the Manly Daily had 30 properties in it for sale. So they used to have hundreds, probably 300 properties, and now, like, there used to be 1,000 properties for sale, and they would have 200 to 300 of them in it. Now they've got 30. So
we're in the business of chasing eyeballs. We do not care where the eyeballs are. We will find them, we will hunt them, and we'll put property under those eyeballs or under their nose. That's the business we're in. At the moment, where the eyeballs are, and I'm talking proactive eyeballs, digital, social, is where it is. Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen, is where your agent dominating in 2020 is marketing your property, because not because they love social media, because they love eyeballs.
Yeah, 100%. Social media is not easy. Lisa puts in 6 hours a day. That ain't easy. So, and to be consistent on it. So it's, we do it because it works. We do it because that's where the eyeballs are. And we do it because it's cheaper, dollar-wise, not time-wise for us, than the paper. Like, owners were spending $1,000 of their money on a newspaper, where if an agent puts in time, they can get a lot more views on a post. So we're very conscious.
$1,000 was buying them at one appearance on a Saturday in the local rag, and that appearance was a quarter page.
Yeah, if it got delivered. If it got delivered.
Yep.
So when we look at the risk versus cost and the return on investment, social media is far greater, in our opinion, and it's been proven. Our results are there.
That's right, and it's much more targeted. Paul, thank you for your questions today. Lisa Novak, thank you for your amazing instant media that you do.
And leading the way for all agents out there.
Yep. And Luke Moroney, g'day, buddy. Michelle, how are you? Everyone, thank you so much for your support. This morning, we made lots of stuff up. This is the third time that we've actually done this. Thank you for people's patience. Unfortunately, I'm driving today. The machine here, and I made lots of stuff ups, but thanks for your patience as well, Michael.
We still got the content out. That's the key thing. we try
again. So have a good one, and everyone.
And that's the key, Mark, with social. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you get it out there. Like, we have a lot of people who watch this live, but we have more people who watch it later who aren't even going to know. So you just get it done.
Get it done. Everyone, have a great day. Enjoy the rainy weather. And Michael, special, it's a touching day for you today. Our thoughts are with you in Melbourne. And love you, everyone. Take care. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.